All right. Well, thank you all for attending. We will have a very fun webinar today, very exciting webinar. Um, let's see if you haven't done so. I see everyone slowly putting in their name and the organizations. We use this for attendance, and so please put it in. I will continuously put that message in for the new individuals that are coming in. So please don't mind me on that. But I'm going to go ahead and start just because but what I do notice is I did get a chime in that one of our presenters is running a little late because they're stuck in a meeting. So hopefully um, they'll be here, and if not, we'll just move things around. Okay. So let me share my screen. All right. Let's see, this is what I miss. I miss seeing your faces now, but let's see real quick. All right. So today's agenda, we will be covering, Alyssa Chatterjee will be here. Very excited. Early Learning Systems Director will be here to talk to you, introduce herself to you. Some of you have not met her. Some of you have. Some of you have read about her. Some of you might not have. And so this is our Early Learning Systems Director. And so she will introduce herself once she's here. And then we will then have Equity Fund updates. We have Director of Grants Management, Teresa, is here. And so as we all know, Adina's position is vacant. The grant manager position is vacant. It's still looking to hire for that position. So Teresa is here, and then Teresa and Alyssa has to hop off, do meetings. And so I want to make sure we cover those first. And then we'll go to exciting news of, PSU talking about a little bit of the updates, and then we get to hear from South Lane School District on what they're doing in their program. And so very, very excited. Like I said, every single one of you, your programs are very unique to your communities. And so very, very excited to have South Lane speak today. And then we have a couple lined up these next couple of webinars. And so very excited for you all to share and get to know more about each other. But let me see if Alyssa's here. She's not here, so I'm going to go ahead and move forward with, obviously, you all are doing it right now. We will move forward with Equity Fund updates. So it's hard because my screen is over here and I want to see you all. Minimize this real quick. So amendments came out. It was sent out on the 23rd of September. And so if you have not received it, please check in your folder. Please check with your fiscal person that's in charge, that might be on the contact list. I believe I sent your information in. And we all know there has been new transitions within agencies as well. So just know that amendments was sent out on the 23rd of September. And so we have been receiving signed amendments. Some we haven't received yet. And so I just wanted to say, please double check to see if you received it. If not, please let us know so we will connect with you. Teresa, you have something to say?
No, I was going to say, if you have not received it and you've checked everywhere, you can go ahead and reach out to me directly and I can pull another copy and send it directly to you. Since we have had a capacity issues in procurement, we've been doing a lot of the actual sending out ourselves instead of procurement doing it. So just want to make sure folks know that.
Yeah, please reach out. We want to make sure that you all have your amendments in your folder, in your inbox. And so let us know if you haven't. Equity Fund Grant Manager status update. Teresa, did you want to give any update on that?
Sure. Kimberly and I and another grant manager staff have been doing interviews for a new grant manager for the Equity Fund, and they will also be the grant manager for Oregon Pre-Kindergarten, because we make everyone wear multiple hats around here. We had a very successful recruitment. We're in the process right now of doing reference checks to fill that position. I think we're all actually really excited. So fingers crossed that everything goes well and that we will be bringing your new grant manager on board in probably the next 4 weeks, given how long background checks can take sometimes. So very happy about that.
Thank you, Teresa. Let's see, and then the equity fund portal, what I've heard from yesterday from a couple of grantees is grantees are having a hard time accessing it. It's asking you to sign in. Before, that's never happened. And so I've sent out an email just to get some help to see what is going on. Maybe there's a glitch on our end. And so, and I know that it's not, I mean, there's something going on because it's multiple grantees are having a hard time accessing. I know that reports are due on the 15th, but just, I will shoot you an email when we've double checked and see if there's anything wrong with it. And then let me know if you've tried and you're still having issues and problems with that. And so like I said, I understand our reports are due on the 15th, but just know completely fine turning it later just because we know there's this whole glitch in the system right now. And so wanted you to be aware of that because multiple people are emailing me. And so we are aware. I wanted to put down that I will be out of the office as of next week until basically the end of the month. And so I'm going to a funeral and then I'm going to, and our cultural funerals are very long, like 3-4 days. And then going to a conference that hoping to see grantees there. Very excited to be seeing grantees there. And then we'll return. And so I'll be out, but as you can see, when I'm out for the funeral, I won't have any access to emails, is giving you that heads up. And so I would defer things to my supervisor. Any fiscal equity fund questions will go to Teresa for right now. And then when I'm at the conference, obviously limited access, but we'll be replying to emails as I can. And then canceling December's webinar just because in the past, December has been a short month for many of the grantees with the winter break off. And so I wanted to dedicate and give you that time and all. And it doesn't work in my schedule in December as well too. And then many reasons for December. So I've decided, you know what, give the gift of time back to everyone. So just know that in December, we will not have a webinar and I will send out a webinar cancellation for the month of December. Let's see. I think that is all. Let me check to see if Alyssa is here. Alyssa, are you here? I wish I can see on my, nope, I do not see Alyssa yet. And so let's see, we can go ahead. Flexibility is key, right? Let's go ahead and Portland State. Why don't you go ahead and do an update?
You betcha. Thank you, Kimberly. Hi, everybody. Actually, just have one quick reminder of the invitation to take a look at the draft parent family level tools that we shared last time. And I think that you should have gotten an email reminder this week with a link to the individualized folder that we set up for each organization. So if you follow that link, you'll find each of the tools in a folder where you can make edits directly on the documents themselves. You can leave comments, do whatever you like with them. Those are your own personal copies. And we're then going and checking those folders on a regular basis to see what all feedback you have left so that we can bring it back to the leadership group and work to incorporate it over the next couple months. And I think that there might have been a suggested deadline in the reminder email of the end of this month. That would be great if you can do it, but also we're going to be engaged in this process really through next June. So that's a very soft deadline. We're going to keep checking back in and keep incorporating feedback over the next 6 to 8 months. So if you can't get to it right now, no big deal. If you can, that would be great. And I don't know if anyone has any questions, but happy to answer them if we have a minute.
Excellent. Never mind. Alexis just answered. Thank you. I will look for it. Thank you.
That's all I've got.
Okay, I'm like, any other updates? Okay, well, that's good. I just wanted to say, I mean, next in the week and a half, there's a Santa Cruz of the grantees. Did you want to talk a little bit about that and remind everyone too, Lorelei?
You bet. So the ELG, the Evaluation Leadership Group, is going to be presenting at a conference in Santa Cruz. And now I'm trying to remember the whole long name of it, Kimberly. You might have to help me out. But it's basically a conference about co-design, about communities and researchers and governmental organizations working together to create the kind of project that we are doing ourselves. So we're looking forward to sharing what we're learning and what our experiences have been, as well as connecting with other people around the country who are doing similar kinds of work, and learning from all of them. And I'm looking at all these little squares here and trying to see who's here. I'm not sure if anybody's here who's actually presenting. V-Lynn from BPI is going to be presenting, and Patricia from Adelante, and Valerie from Warm Springs. What else am I forgetting, Kimberly?
I think that's what I have down. And then you have, the parents that will be attending as well too, so.
Yes, there will be a program parent and also a parent advocate, but I don't think they want to present. We're still talking about that. It's kind of an intimidating thing to walk into a national conference right off the bat, and I find it really intimidating.
I put the link in the chat function of what the conference is about. So just very excited to have grantees, be a part of this process and get to go to these national conferences and share and talk about how everything's been, and working with Portland State on this evaluation. And so very, very excited. And so glad to be able to be present, going to be present for that presentation. So thank you to the grantees are strong and taking it for the team. So I wanted to say that. Let's see. I do not see Alyssa yet. Alyssa did nudge me and say that she's still stuck with the governor's office right now. And so she'll try to come out. So was wondering, South Lane, let's be flexible and let's have you go ahead and go. Let you be a, you have slideshow, I assume.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, great. So let me have you go. Let me.
And, oh, see, where did it go? Okay.
Let's see. I'm trying to find you on here, Heather.
Kimberly, I think Alyssa just joined.
Oh, okay. So let's go back and go with Alyssa first, and Heather, and then we'll go with South Lane with you next. Okay. And so, hello.
Hello, I'm so sorry to be late. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. So we just kind of went through some updates. And so, and we were just, of course, flexibility is key right now and give grace. And so Alyssa wanted to kind of introduce you to the Equity Fund grantees. Some have met you, some have not, some have read about you, some have not read about you. And so I wanted to kind of give this opportunity for you to kind of share about yourself, a little bit maybe about the transition of the early learning to DELC, and anything that you think would be great for the Equity Fund grantees to know.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for letting me join. And I'm seeing familiar faces and a lot of folks I haven't met before. So good morning. It's so great to see so many folks. I really first just want to say thank you for the transformational work that you're doing. I'm so proud to be associated with this work, and really the incredible way that we've been able to demonstrate what it means to fund programs with equity in mind and promote culturally responsive and culturally specific practice. So just thank you all for what you're doing. I know it's been a long road. I know there have been bumps along the way, and I just appreciate you all sticking with us through this work. I wanted to make sure you all know that we are in the process of becoming the Department of Early Learning and Care. So we have been a part of the Oregon Department of Education for about 10 years. We previously resided in the governor's office before that, but legislation passed in 2021 that will actually pull us out and be on our own on July 1st, 2023. So we've been working fast and furious to put that together, design what this agency will be, and take this opportunity to be better and to be intentional. And we have this opportunity to think about, what does government look like with everything we know in 2022? You have agencies that have been around for decades. The Department of Education has existed in some form for over 100 years. You know, there are these big ships to turn. And while we're still government, we still have plenty of red tape that we'll have to maintain, and bureaucracy doesn't change quickly. We do think there's a lot of opportunity to be intentional about the processes and policies we establish internally to promote equity and make sure that our partners are able to access resources, get the information they need that's going to best serve the kids and families across our state. So I'm really hopeful that we can partner with you all in the coming months to make sure that we really are taking that strong equity lens and being really intentional. Because while these internal processes might seem, you know, very internal and very bureaucratic, we know that that has such an effect on the way you do business with us. And so where there's that flexibility within, you know, the laws and statutes we work within, we really want to make sure that we're taking these opportunities now and starting a new agency with equity at the foundation, and not just saying, let's do more of the same and we promise we'll make it better down the road. So would really love anybody's interest and expertise. Kimberly is deeply embedded in so much of that work as well, particularly as we're moving the employment-related daycare program over from the Oregon Department of Human Services. So a lot of moving pieces, but a lot of exciting work to do between now and July 1st. And we know a flip won't switch and things will magically be different. It always takes time, but really want to be intentional and strategic. And so I think this is such an important group of folks. You all have shown us how we can do business differently and how we can be resourcing programs to be successful, to do the work that you all know your communities need you to do. And so really leveraging your expertise and lifting up your experiences to drive the state structures and policies that we're creating for the agency. So I know I showed up late, so I will pause because I'd be happy to answer any questions. Or Kimberly, if there's anything else you want me to touch on, I'm happy to.
Are there any questions anyone has for Alyssa or for Teresa? Like I said, both of them will be jumping off here in a little bit. And so wanted to give that time and space if you have any questions in regards to, you know, the transition of Early Learning Division to DELC, anything in regards to the Early Learning Division with Alyssa here present, and with Teresa here, looking at the fiscal grant side of the equity fund. And so we have a couple of minutes left with them. So any questions?
Hello. Sorry, I'm so late.
No problem. I'll add to, part of becoming our own agency means there's a lot of new functions that we'll have full control over. So we get to have our own procurement shop, our own budget and accounting team, our own communications team, our own data analytics team. And so we really are trying to build all those new functions with equity in mind. We're really excited about that opportunity to design systems that are rooted in what early childhood and childcare providers need. It's so different than what school districts need. And that's the lens that ODE has always had. And we know it's not quite a good fit in all circumstances. So really looking forward to, while it's a big lift, it's a big opportunity to set those teams up and really define how we do business as the Department of Early Learning and Care going forward. And thank you, Muna. I really appreciate that offer. Yes, Kimberly is deeply connected. So if folks would like to dig into other bodies of work, if you're interested in kind of serving on work groups as we start this process and procedure development work, we really want to make sure, that there's a lot of opportunity for you all to give input in what we design for the agency.
Any other questions? Anything else? We have Alyssa here. We have Teresa here. Here's our time. And definitely I've been transparent with you throughout this whole time. We want to make sure all voices are at the table. We want to make sure we hear, what you are going through, what your communities are going through. We want to hear and make the decisions that will impact your communities in a great way, not causing barriers, I say it all the time. We as the ELD, we own where we need to work. Everyone's not perfect. Every organization is not perfect. And so we ask for grace, but definitely the intentions is always to be able to be inclusive and equitable in everything that we do and say. And so we definitely have places where, if you want to be at the table, if you want to give input, we would appreciate that. The equity fund here, I've said it for these past 2 years, we've been building this airplane while flying it. And so we're all flying it and sitting on board together. And so there's been a lot of hiccups, but we've been cruising along as well too. And so just know that we're always, give me feedback, give us feedback. We're open to that. And so definitely if let me know if you want to partake in any of the conversations. I see Muna, there's some individuals that have connected with me and said, Kimberly, anything moving forward, I would love to speak about our community and things like that. And so definitely let us know.
And I want to offer that I did throw my email directly into the chat. So if you have grant questions about your grant specifically, and you want to talk offline, please feel free to connect directly with me.
Yeah, that's good, because I had a couple of questions, but when it's individual, I really prefer to do it, not take that time of everyone. Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
Heather, I see your hand up.
Yeah, Teresa, I shot this to you in an email, but I'm just curious, so I turned in our finalized budget. Are we supposed to move forward as if that's been approved or wait until approval?
You can go ahead and move forward. Sorry, I didn't get back to you yet, Heather.
No worries.
We're
It was
just
late yesterday.
Kimberly and I are doing a quick review, and then most of these are going through pretty quickly. But yours was approved, so.
Oh, okay.
Just
Yeah,
so
and
everyone knows.
absolutely no, it was probably last night I sent you an email, so don't worry at all.
Yep.
So,
No, it's very good. Thank you. And thank you for doing it twice.
Shauna, I see your hand up.
I just had a question in regards to the budget. So we received our, the letter with our amendments on there, but I never received any other paperwork for us to do like our budget. Am I supposed to just take that final amount and put it onto the budget sheet and then submit it? Or am I waiting for you guys to send me the budget?
No, I will get the budget sheet out to you. We've sent the executed agreement. Is that correct, Shauna?
Yes.
Okay. A little bit of a backlog on my part. I'm sorry about that, but I will get that out to you. And actually, I might look and see if there's a place on the portal where I can post a blank sheet for folks. Might be easier for everybody to get it there. And if you want to check the portal again, I tried something that I think might have reset your access to it as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Teresa, there used to be a budget template that was there. I think when we added documents, I think it might have been taken out. And so
Okay.
The grantees are used to having a budget template on there. And so
I'll go find it. We'll get it done.
And Teresa, I did get a question. Do we have an estimate of when funding would be available in EGIMS?
It's a really good question. This morning, I got some information and sent it over to our EGIMS team, which is separate from us, and asked for the budget, or not the budget, sorry, asked for the funding to be loaded on an urgent basis to get this in. And so I know they're responding. As soon as we get that back, we have people ready to load. I'm hopeful that we'll have it in by Friday, which means you could claim by Monday. I will prepare an email if that's not going to happen, just to send out to all grantees, just to give you an update. If you had funds left over from year one, I'm extending out, once we have your executed agreement, I'm extending out your claim date. You can actually access those funds for year two, and that'll at least give you some of that money to go ahead and start using. So as I see executed agreements, I'm extending the dates on all of the grantees who have an executed agreement.
And we're in the process of doing a procurement to replace EGUM, since we're going to be leaving the Department of Education. So as Teresa mentioned, we have to send this over to the ODE team because they have a separate EGUM team to get everything loaded. So that's one of those system efficiencies that once we have our new system in place by July 1, we're not going to have to go send information somewhere else. Teresa's team is going to know, and our accounting team is going to know and be really in lockstep, because they're only going to be focused on ELD or Department of Early Learning and Care grants. So the goal is to have that ready by spring. So some of you might get tapped because we'll want to do some user testing and make sure everything's good to go by July. But that's a great example of some of the changes that you can expect to see once we're our own department.
And I wanted to add too, and Alyssa, please correct me if I'm wrong for saying this, but I know a part of the rules for the equity fund is that we have every year we have to do, an application, for your funds. And I believe the last ELC meeting, Alyssa and team were able to get the change to officially happen for us to be multi-year grants instead of just a one-year grant. So we don't have to go through this July process every year again.
Yeah, so the council passed a temporary rule to remove that annual requirement. We haven't shifted to a full multi-year grant agreement structure, but this does mean you won't have to keep applying for the same funds you've been getting. We'll be convening a rulemaking advisory committee, and so you all will get tapped to see if anybody wants to participate, because these are temporary rules, and so the council will need to adopt permanent rules. So this is the opportunity to really look at the equity fund rules and see if there have been other limitations in rule that have made it challenging for you all to get your funds and to operate your programs, and make sure we take this chance to clean it all up, especially now that we're going to have our own procurement office. A lot of what ended up getting folded into rule was sort of a stopgap that we know has actually created more barriers for you all, and that will be going away now that we're going to be running our own procurement.
Brandy, I see your hand up.
Yes, thank you. I just had a quick question for Teresa. When you speak of the extension date, do we have an exact date that it's going to be extended to for those unused funds?
Through the end of your grant.
To the end of the grant.
So
Okay.
through June 2023, yes.
Okay.
So it's essentially rolling into year two.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And just wanted to clarify that in the amendments that were sent out, that is your total for 2 years for this biennium, okay? And so I know Teresa sent an email out on that. I still received some questions on it. And so it's written that way so that whatever wasn't utilized could be utilized this year. It's not broken to 2 years. And so just know that the total amount is for last year and this year. If you want to know how much you've spent or have forgotten that or doesn't have it, let us know and we'll take a look and let you know how much was spent, and that would be Teresa. And so just shoot Teresa an email and say, hey, can you let us know what we actually used last year, how much we have left, and in addition to this year, and so we can give you that information so you can use every cent, every penny to the T, because we want to make sure you're utilizing everything. And so there's that. But yeah, let's see. I know it's 11:32. Any remaining questions, please just shoot me an email or shoot Teresa an email. Anything for Alyssa, shoot me an email. I could forward over to Alyssa and we'll get back to you. Okay. And so thank you, Alyssa, and thank you, Teresa, for being here.
Thanks, everyone. Apologies again for being late. And let me know if there's anything else you need. I'm always happy to come back, and just thank you again for everything you're doing. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. I know, I don't know about you guys, but I know that I always I should have said that. I should have asked this. So if that comes up, shoot us an email, okay? let's see, next, what's going to happen is South Lane. Heather, you will be able to take over the floor. Let me make sure that you have access to the, being able to share your screen real quick. Heather,
Hello.
I'm trying to find you, Heather. Oh, there you go. I didn't know that it actually puts you all the way up.
Oh,
So,
me neither.
there
Okay.
you go.
So we should. Can everybody see okay? Did we lose?
I
Okay,
don't see your screen.
okay, hold on, just, okay. Okay, well, I think we have to share down here, share. We're trying to share, apologies, we're trying to share. And it's still not. How did that, sorry, Kimberly, just 1
No
second.
worries. Take your time. Stand up if anyone needs. Get your cup, get your coffee if needed. I know it's 11:30. I shouldn't be drinking coffee, but I am. So I'll be up late tonight for sure. Actually, coffee's been doing the opposite. I've been sleeping when I drink coffee. So I have not been drinking coffee lately, but today I just really needed it. Let's see. While Heather and team is trying to work on that, have any of you gone in to check to see if the portal is working? I put the link in. Teresa just went and fixed a little glitch to see if the glitch is gone. Can you, one of you, look at the chat box and click on the portal to see if you can access it? Yesterday, we had grantees trying to access it to do the reports, and it was asking them to sign in. Great, thank you, thank you. Yes, great, glad that it's working. Yes, any questions, anything in regards to, rules committee and anything like that? Definitely Remy is our person. And she knows, if you need, her email is there. Ask any questions in regards to how, you can learn more about the rules, the process and everything like that. Heather, if it's easier for you, if you want to just email me the PowerPoint, I could do that as well.
We can do that and we can go ahead and just get started too. So,
Okay.
we can look at our slides, and it's a bummer we can't share them, but that's not a problem for us. Is that okay for everybody? And how do I want to out of that mode? There we go. Okay, so I'm Heather Murphy. I'm the Early Learning Administrator for South Lane School District, and this is my esteemed colleague.
Hi, I'm Sarah Canales. I'm the Early Learning Community Services Supervisor.
And many of you may have known through the years, many years that she worked with us, Anna Maria Dudley, who was here as our director of our Family Resource Center for many, many years, like close to 30 years. She retired in June, and Sarah's position was slightly revisioned, and she came on in August. So we're thrilled that she's here. We started as a public-private partnership with a local nonprofit. We opened the first Family Resource Center in Lane County, and Lane County kind of opened the first series of Family Resource Centers. And the director and the visionary for that was named Peggy Lintula. I'm not sure if any of you knew her, but we renamed after she tragically passed from cancer several years ago. We renamed our Family Resource Center Peggy's Primary Connection. Because it was truly her vision as a kindergarten teacher to start this idea of a place for families to come and begin to connect that was also closely related to our school district. But it was run for over 25 years through a public-private partnership. The space was provided by South Lane School District, the administration of the program primarily through parent partnership, though Peggy herself was a school district employee. We had 3 staff for many years, I think Peggy was full-time, and Anna Maria Dudley and Leslie Canales, who had both been parents that utilized services at the center. Peggy brought them on board in different capacities. And in about 1993, because way before we started hearing about different forms of equity work, the way that we hear about it now, we had immigrants moving here from a certain part of Mexico who heard that there were 2 bilingual, bicultural staff members in our primary connection. And they began, the families began coming, and all of a sudden we began supporting families in 2 languages, and supporting the traditions that the families brought with them from Mexico. And how do we, how do we modify and tailor services to meet their growing needs? And we began with 7 to 10 families. And then we started to help them learn about community norms, and started seeking out bilingual services, parent education and things like that, services that we could offer. And that particular population really began to grow in accessing services. In about 2015, the first Indigenous Guatemalan families came to our community. There were probably 2 or 3 families initially. There was an industry that they were able to work with a distributor out of Portland, and work here picking salal, which grows in our hills outside of Cottage Grove, and that's a flower filler for bouquets all over the world. And so people escaping persecution in the indigenous regions of Guatemala began coming to our community. What was different about serving those families is they were still directed to our Family Resource Center and told to look for Ana Maria and Leslie. But Ana Maria and Leslie both spoke Spanish. These families spoke Mayan languages, which are not written languages. And all of a sudden, after those 3 families, many more families came here for the industry and the community that was beginning to establish here. So quickly, our staff, which at the time were 3 people, began to figure out, how do you work with families where the language isn't written? How do we figure out services that they need, because their journeys here were quite perilous. I know many of you are aware of those in your communities as well. How do we start? And this is about 8 years ago. How do we start putting things together in this small rural community for families, because there were many needs. So again, taking things down to the studs, foundationally starting to understand for families where systems like ours didn't exist, where they were coming from, and how to meet the needs. Our wonderful team just really started to build something very special here. And we'll keep going. I already mentioned that. There were 3 Mayan dialects. The main dialect we see in our community is Mam. We also have some families who speak Quiche, and a smaller amount that speaks Kahnawake. Many of the families were not able to read or write. They had not gone to, many had not gone to school in traditional senses that we had. We found that some of the primarily men that were doing some kind of training or agricultural work back in their country were speaking Spanish. So we started to begin to bridge the language barrier through offering Spanish and helping moms and children, of course, who are transitioning into the schools, begin to learn Spanish and English. And of course, many of the children pick that up very quickly. Over time, we began to grow these services. So the Family Resource Center was absorbed by our district in 2017, and it is very much a point of entry for families. So we have early learning services that happen there, including our Family Resource Center, but we also have that real connection to our community partners. We are that community services connection. And so families really come into our center, and we're their first point of entry, and then we help triage them into the many services that we offer here, and then help bridge them into K-12. So in the fall of 2018, we remodeled and opened the Early Learning Center, which shares space with our newest elementary school, Harrison Elementary, our largest elementary as well, and our community swimming pool right across the parking lot in the other way. Peggy's Primary Connection, again, was still 3 staff when we were absorbed, offered parent groups, family support, parent education classes, and nutrition classes. Home visiting, we have a community meeting we call SOUP, which is not an acronym, although it's capitalized. We actually just started putting SOUP on for our community partners. They would come to the center and join us. Now that list, it's a hybrid meeting. Now we just started offering SOUP again this year, now that we can come back together, and there are over 90 community partners on that list. So it is a very large meeting. We provide a lot of community resource referrals and connections. And in this building, Head Start has also leased classroom and office space. Of course, as all of you know, COVID interrupted all services. We were down for a little while to just providing home services, but our district committed to coming back together early on in the COVID process, and we just managed very small cohort groups for our play groups because we were so very worried about the isolation, especially for our indigenous Guatemalan population. Very, very isolated, lots of needs, and we wanted to make sure that there were connections being made as many were still arriving here. We've had very rapid growth all during COVID. We became an early childhood equity fund site in 2021. We also received a Latinx funding grant, a grant of funding, same year. Our district prioritized Student Investment Act funding in part for the families that we serve. So we were able to grow from a staff of 3 to 24 in the last 2 years. So it's an incredible amount of growth in a very small time. I've been on a little more than a year, but I know my predecessor was hiring en masse. So we'll talk a little bit about the team that we hired. We also have Preschool Promise here, and just this year we're awarded 2 new classrooms. So we had 3. We now have 2 at our largest Harrison Elementary, just right through our play yard here, and the last one at our most rural school. So all of our elementary schools have Preschool Promise sites, and our largest has 2. One of those is identified as a culturally specific classroom, although the other Harrison classroom will be heavily populated with our Spanish and Mayan speaking students as well. This year, we were recipients of what we affectionately refer to as the CCC grant, which also includes SAMHSA funding, which is a specialized mental health pilot, about 5 school districts of different sizes. And we were funded that in large part because we have a team originally called Community Resource Specialists. Now, all sites call them Community Care Specialists. And this is something that is just getting going, but will hopefully be replicated throughout the state, as I understand the larger picture as we move forward. Our ELC staff, Sarah and I, and our office manager, our Peggy's Primary Connection has 3 FTE. We have 2 interpreter translators, and it's important to distinguish. One of those is, but they're both full-time. One is Spanish speaking, and then we have a mom and Spanish speaking interpreter, a young woman who came to our community as an unaccompanied youth, graduated from our high school, and was within 6 months was hired to provide this very specific interpretation and translation for families, for Guatemalan families. We have now 6 community care specialists serving all of our schools, including our online school. And Sarah is going to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so our 6 community care specialists work to bridge the needs of students and families that they may have, connect them to resources. It could be food access, utility assistance, connecting them to make medical appointments. Maybe they have been trying to make a medical appointment, but haven't been successful in actually being able to make that appointment. So our community care specialists We have one in every school, as Heather mentioned, and also a community care specialist at our early learning center. Our community care specialist at our early learning center works with families. And she bilingual, so she works with a lot of our Spanish speaking families, and it could be connecting them to immigration services, connecting them to applying for energy assistance. It could be as simply as a student needs athletic shorts, really just making sure that the students and families have the needs, and connecting them, and making sure the staff members are connecting the community care specialists to the families if there is a need, and supporting the families to ensure that holistically they're being supported, not just academically, but those other aspects of life as well.
With the rapid growth, I can't emphasize enough that we have invested a lot in professional development. So mentioning that we hired a mom speaking student, specifically to help provide support to our Guatemalan population, that requires a lot of professional development. She's currently, along with our other interpreter, going through community health worker training. All of our CCS staff went through Oregon Family Support Network training, and then we are peppering into that many other kinds, because there's such a depth and breadth to what they're having come through their doors. We want to make sure that they have the tools in their toolbox that prepare them to adequately support families who are coming to them with intimate partner violence issues. And again, the community care specialists serve all age levels in our school district. So the needs of an elementary school student may be very different from what our high school students or our alternative school students need. So professional development with that rapid growth has been critical. And I'm just going to quickly move through others. So we have 9 FTE, we have 15 FTE now in Preschool Promise. And we are just getting ready to reopen an early learning program at our high school that was originally a public-private partnership. The school district is reopening. It closed in 2019. It was for our teen parent population, began almost 30 years ago. Over time, it incorporated school district staff. When it closed, it left a real desert here for infant care. There is no certified infant care in our area whatsoever. And the center sat dormant, a beautiful center sat dormant in our high school for a few years. So we're reopening that. And we are repositioning it, and starting from the onset, we want it to be culturally responsive and specific, so that it attracts some of our families who may want to go to work, some of our Indigenous Guatemalan families who want to have the training, the materials, everything from when we open the door, that it's inviting. It will still prioritize parenting teens, and there will still be slots for staff, but it will also be more open, and we want it to be inviting to our most marginalized. We don't need it to make funding, we need it to break even. So we have a different, it is difficult for centers to open infant care. It's hard for them to make a living with that. But for us, we want to make sure that it is inviting, and that our most marginalized populations have access to high quality care. We mentioned we provide direct services. All of our direct service staff in our ELC are bilingual, bicultural. We provide grant management, community resource sharing and collaboration, coaching and professional development. We oversee our KITS summer kindergarten readiness program, and at our office manages the contracts that come with all of these things. We have new programs, and we're almost done. Friends of the Children is a new mentoring program. They are paid mentors. Many of you may know these. They stay with the children all the way through their school experience. So we have the newest cohort for Friends of the Children Lane County, and we have a very high number of Spanish and Mayan speaking children that were selected into that program, which is fantastic news. We also have 15th night for homeless, unhoused students. And we are implementing the Rapid Access Network, which our CCS team will be putting some of those like size 15 basketball shoes that they can't find anywhere will go out in the Rapid Access Network into our community. Someone will grab that ticket, respond, purchase, deliver, ticket closed. So we're excited about that. We mentioned Little Lions. And then we've been doing quite a bit. We have 13 currently either newly delivered or pregnant moms specific to our Indigenous Guatemalan population. So we have begun a wonderful partnership around doula services, a doula curriculum. So our perinatal work is going very strong. And thanks to the waning of COVID, we are reintroducing our nutrition education program. So there is a lot happening. Finally, we were very, very fortunate to open La Plaza. Kimberly was able to join us. That is a new center downstairs. It is being maximized with all that we had mentioned. Used to be an auto shop for our former high school. It's now a beautiful center that was dedicated to Anna Maria Dudley before she retired. That's promoting expanded partnerships to support families. So, and with that, thank you for giving us time to share. We were excited to do so.
Thank you for sharing. Any grantees have any questions for Heather and her team?
And we're welcome. We always welcome visitors very warmly here. So, and we might visit some of you. We love field trips as well. So thank you for the time, Kimberly.
No, I love it. You know, I was so happy to come and see La Plaza open up. I mean, I always look forward to site visits. And so if any sites would love for Kimberly to stop by, let me know so I can arrange that to happen. But definitely honoring, you know, if people prefer to still meet virtually, that's totally fine. But I've been enjoying these site visits that I've been going on. And so South Lane, you're the first one that I went to. And I was just, this is my why I love doing what I do, you know. And so definitely shoot. Heather, if you want to put your email in the chat, if anyone wants to connect, if they have any questions, that'd be great. But
Kimberly,
for that.
Kimberly, hi, I have a question for her. It's because it sounds, you know, Faces of America is not only the center, you know, for preschool, dual language, but it's also, we had a plaza. We used to connect with Chemekera Community College, preparing people who never went to school, you know, in Mexico to do the GED, yada, yada. But once we got our own building, it was hard to do and include the parents like we used to do it, you know, actually even in the district, because ELD, they just said that the parents cannot be at the same time as the kids. So I was just listening, you know, to everything that they were doing. We had a lot of those programs, obviously not as big because they are connected to the district. But here in Salem, it was a very, very good resources. But that is something that I really would like to learn a little bit more. How can we, because we've been doing a lot with the equity fund money, you know, but we cannot include those parents inside the school, especially because it was not only parents from our students, you know, they were other families, because it's a plaza comunitaria connected to the Mexican consulate. But the thing is that I just feel like the different offices are not connected. For example, for the equity fund purpose, this would be something great, but for the early learning division, that doesn't work. Those kind of things, you know, in the school districts, because I retired from the Salem Kaiser School District, they do, because I used to do in the school district what I do now, but it was okay to do it in the district, but it is not okay to do it in a center. So we have had our hands tied, you know, and I was really listening, you know, very carefully to what she was saying and sharing. So I don't know, I really would like to visit their center and see how that is working and what can Faces do, you know, in order to bring all our programs together.
No, we welcome any visitors. I forgot to mention, and this is something parents really point to as helpful. We do offer 2 terms of the PILAS English Learning Program, and that's a family. They're offered in the evening, so children can come over, get homework support and English support. And then the parents are doing English classes, and that's a contract, and we pay for that through ECEF. So that is the parents like hold that up really, really high. And then the CTE strand is another big one that I mentioned. We will be working and encouraging students of all kinds and all languages through our early learning CTE strand, which will then start to build that workforce into early learning and education. Big goal for some of these services for our families.
And that is very good because we used to do that for 8 years. We did it under the wing of Linda Herrera in Chemekara Community College, you know, with the HEP and CAMP programs. But that's what I was saying, you know, that when you do it in an institution, the government institution or a school district, it is allowed. But when we came to our center, the early learning division is just saying, no, you cannot do that. No, you cannot do that. No, you cannot do that. That is what kind of, because we cannot have parents. For example, when we used to do it at the La Escuelita in the migrant family program, the parents used to come with the students, and the parents used to be in another classroom taking GED, taking, you know, to do the citizenship, to do elementary and secondary through the Mexican Consulate and Department of Education in Mexico, all of that. And then we will have times where those parents will share with their students in the classrooms, but this is something that we cannot do here. So you can do it in an institution.
Question, was that before the equity fund?
Yeah, that's for the equity fund because we really would like to use that. And I just got so excited when I was listening to her, what she's doing.
So definitely, you know, the equity fund is here, you know, and that opens up different opportunities. This is what's great about, you know, grantees being able to share about their programs because you get to learn, bounce off ideas, you know, ask to visit and see what people are comfortable with. So I love that, Juanita, you were asking, you know, Heather, South Lane School District, kind of like what they're doing and seeing what the similarities and the services that you were providing that didn't get provided, but now you want to provide it back again. And so definitely, this is why this is great. This is great to hear what each and every one of you are doing, because like I said, you're doing very similar programs, but everyone's just unaware. So it's really good for us to connect. So definitely connect with Heather. Heather have her information and her email in. So definitely connect with Heather if you have any questions. But yeah, let's connect. This is what this is for. Very exciting.
I know. We would love to do that.
Let's see. I'm looking at time. I'm going to move on real quick. Let me share my screen. Let's see. All right. So that was a little bit about South Lane School District and Cottage Grove. Very nice little town that I went to. So very exciting. Some quick reminders before we head out. Please read your grant manual and your grant agreement, okay? There are things that there's a lot of new staff. Please make sure your staff has the grant manual. If they don't, let us know. I can email that out to you. Take a look at your grant agreement. One question that was raised was the Central Background Registry. If you are providing services, a lot of your services has a parent present, you know, or has a parent and child together. But if you have services where your staff is alone with children, just knowing the agreement, your staff is supposed to be a part of the Central Background Registry, okay? And so please make sure that they are registered, gone through all that. It's taking, to be completely transparent with you, it's taken a couple of months. And so just know that right now, if your staff is not in the Central Background Registry, this is in the grant agreement, that they must be registered in, or they can't be alone with children. Okay, and so parents must be present. And so there's that. Insurance as well. Make sure you're updated with the insurance levels. I know that they made some changes, lowered some amounts because it was so ridiculously high on some of them that they lowered some amount. The majority is still the same. There's a couple that has changed. Please take a look. program service delivery calendars. There's about 5 that I have not received, but obviously, it's supposed to be completed 30 days after executed agreement. So make sure you click on your link and update it there or email it to me. Let's see, monthly reports, like I said, glad that the portal is working, so make sure you turn that in for the month of September. If you want to know what your status is, just in case you've missed any, or if you want to make sure you have everything in, shoot me an email and I'll get back to you. And then new staff orientation next week, Monday. And so that one's going to have a good, I believe, like 5 or 6 individuals that will be attending that meeting. So if you have any new staff that has transitioned in, definitely send me their email. I can send them to Mondays. If not, every month there's one. So November, there'll be one as well, and I can send them to the next one, invite them to the next one. And then TA reporting, if you need any help, TA guidance, I have a set time, but other than that, you know, I'm willing to connect with you at any time. That will work better for you as well. And so those are just some quick reminders there. But other than that, that's pretty much all for today. Very, very excited for, you know, just, I'm honestly very excited. I'm going to be transparent with you. The 2 final candidates that we have selected for our grant manager is Spanish speaking. And so very, very excited. I know. And so moving forward, if any of them commit, very excited that we'll be able to start doing some webinars in Spanish too, and information sharing and check-ins in Spanish. So very excited about that. The new staff orientation is for any position that's related to the equity fund. You know, we've had teachers attend, we've had administrators attend, and it's really equity one-on-one. You learn about what the equity fund is, not equity one-on-one, it's equity fund one-on-one. You learn about the reason why, program requirements, portal, you go through the whole shebang. A lot of program managers that has been with us for 2 years attended, and they're like, holy cow, if we had known this from the beginning, this really helps build the foundation of what the equity fund is. Now we understand why. And so whoever wants to attend, new staff or staff that has been on your team for a while that wants to attend, you know, just let me know and shoot me their email. I say, Kimberly, please invite this person to the next orientation, and then I could send them the invite. Okay. Let's see. I think that's all for now. As always, we'll send you this recorded link, and we'll send you the links that were all sent in the chat, you know, from the rulemaking process to even knowing what the conference is, of what the grantees will be present at, email information like Heather, Alyssa, Teresa, Remy, you know, and then send you the slide deck as well. And so before we head out, any last questions?
Really quick, Kimberly, for example, the orientation, are they going to have in Spanish? Because
Oh, I wish, not yet, but in the future. In the future,
okay,
yes.
okay, no, that's
But
perfect.
not yet, but definitely everything that we're moving forward with, you know, we want to make sure there's at least Spanish. And so that is the goal. Well, all right. I don't know about your neck of the woods, but it is sunny here. So I'm definitely going to take my work laptop and go outside for my next meeting for sure. But as always, if you have any questions, send me an email and we'll get back to you, and I'll send you all this information as soon as I upload it onto YouTube. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.